his father refused to accept him had an effect on Schoenstatt. After his ordination, he was asked to become a teacher at the minor seminary.
We hope, we pray for better days.
I want to start now with Father Kentenich's birth. He was born at the end of the 1800s.
Okay.
And the trouble was, in those days, if a woman wasn't married, she was nothing. And although Father Kentenich's mother was a lovely lady, and she expected the man to marry her, she was an ordinary working girl. She hadn't got a basic education, and she went to work on a farm. And the farm manager actually took a shine to her and gave her to understand that he would marry her. And so when she fell pregnant, he went back on that. And he refused to accept that this child was his. Although if you look at the pictures, you can see that this is the only picture we have of his father. And if you look at him, he's very like his father. Very like his father. We only have one picture of his mother, and this is at the orphanage. And so the poor mother was very upset that he wouldn't marry her. And at one stage, she even thought of killing herself. She was at home, and her mother got a feeling, that's her mother.
Yeah.
Her mother got that feeling during the night that something was wrong. And she went around with holy water. And by the end of the night, Joseph's mother had accepted the child. She decided not to kill herself. She would have the child. Can you imagine what the world would be like if she didn't have him? Yeah. And he grew up actually with his grandparents. If you go to Kentenich, it's a small village near Cologne, and it's a very small house. Her father was a carter. He had a horse and a cart, and he used to take the produce from the village to Cologne to sell it on the market and then come back with things which the people needed. And Joseph sometimes was allowed to go with him, and they enjoyed the outing together, he and his grandfather. And he grew up with his grandmother. His mother had to work to earn a living also for the child. And at one stage she found a job in Cologne as a housekeeper, but they wouldn't let her keep the child. And so she was forced to take the child to an orphanage. And this priest was her spiritual director. And he actually had started the orphanage, which is there. I think this is Kentenich. He'd started the orphanage, and so he managed to get the child in. He was a very, very bright child. He'd been at the basic school in the village, and so he went on to get his further education. And when his mother took him to the orphanage, she was very, very upset to leave him. and she went probably to this statue just outside the chapel of the orphanage, because it was run by nuns, and she took the only thing she had of value, which was her communion cross, and she hung it round Our Lady. We don't know whether she put it round the arm or whether she put it round the neck. We don't know. But she handed over her child to Our Lady and said, I can't be a mother to him. Now you take over. Be a mother to him. And Joseph, who was 8.5 at the time, understood what was going on. He was very upset himself, but he also gave himself to Our Lady. And this became the beginning of the covenant of love, because he said Our Lady really was a mother to him and led him all the way that he was to follow. He wanted to be a priest, and at the time illegitimate children were not allowed to be accepted as priests, and he said why just too often, so that by the time it came for him to be decided whether he would become a priest or not, some of the masters, the teachers, felt that he would be too difficult.